Hey, good evening. How is everyone doing today? I'd like to take the time to welcome you to another Morning Glory Apostolic Prophetic Center video. And today's message is I see prosperity. I see prosperity. And for the past few days, God has given me that message, but I had to wait till I get what I needed in order to fully release the message that he has concerning prosperity. And it's interesting to note that many of you have been following me in my 27 years. You have never heard me speak or give any messages concerning prosperity. So for many of you to hear this, you should be assured that this is a right now word from God. Because one of the prophecies that we was given last year is that God will begin to release wealth, but to kingdom-minded people. Because oftentimes when a person hear the words prosperity, they get excited, they rush to see what's said, even if they never heard of you before, listen to you before. The minute you mention prosperity, they gravitate towards you. So I assure you that we have to, we have to release some rules for this word. This word that I'm giving concerning prosperity, and I got to do it the way God told me, it's not for people who haven't followed me. Because you have to realize if the anointing falls from the head down, and you see that Moses had the people helping him uphold his hands, which means helping him uphold his ministry, supporting his ministry. So therefore, this is a prosperity word that's not for everybody, because I know y'all been taught that if you hear a word and it applies to you, you can grab it. That's not true. It's not true. So we got to understand that this word on prosperity are for those who've been found faithful. And he gave me 8 things I have to say about prosperity. And after these 8 things, I don't know how long it's going to take me, because he told me to make sure that I preach it in a simple way, but yet give you the more meatier part of the revelation. Because, like I stated earlier, a lot of us have been through a lot these past 5 years, and more importantly, this past 2 years. So if we're going into 2025 where God declared it's a season of rest, what more than you can rest peacefully when you have the prosperity? So what we got to understand, prosperity is not money. Some is going to come to you in the form of money. Some is going to come into you by decisions. Some is going to come through ministry. But what I want many of you to understand, that as God released this prosperity, it's for you. I won't be a part of it. And the reason, see, you got to understand people that got a relationship with God. See, the reason it's not coming to me, because I got to teach it. And And I don't want to teach it in a way that you look at me and think God gave me more than he gave you. I don't want to look at you like God gave you more than me. So therefore, I'm out of the equation, but I'm in the equation. And you will see as we go through scripture and release this. So when God told me I had to talk about prosperity, it really caught me by surprise because I don't know nothing about it. But he told me I experienced it. And I experienced it the other day when I bought these glasses. So what happened, I usually go to the same glass store to get my glasses. The Holy Spirit led me a different way. So I'm in there and I'm getting my glasses. And people know me. That's my whole message about going to buy name brand this and name brand that and name brand that. But what God allowed me to experience was prosperity so that I can teach you prosperity. Because many of you hear me when I say I don't ask God for nothing, he just give it to me. But I found out oftentimes me just saying that is a spirit of pride. Because I prided myself that God just give me what he want me to have. And oftentimes I might miss a blessing for not asking for what I need. So I go in here, I'm over there where the rich folk glass is at, and I'm looking at the prices. I said, why do people spend all this money on glasses? So I go back over to where, you know, my folks shop. The salesman came to me. He said, well, why are you looking at them? He said, why don't you go over there and get them? I had to change my mindset. Because when you listen to the Holy Spirit, you remember we taught that message, you got to know how to hug the curve, which means you got to know how God talked to you when he's not talking to you. So we go over there with these glasses. Do y'all know how much these glasses cost? And I looked at the price. And he said, don't worry about it. He said, we got a special. That's when God began to deal with me about prosperity. The prosperity that he's about to release is going to have to change your mindset of what true prosperity really is. Because I went in looking for something I can afford. Well, not what I can afford. I went in looking at what I normally see, but not a pattern, but not a paying attention of what he wanted me to see. These glasses was over $500. I gave that man $50. $50 plus 39 because I had to add some framing there. So when we dealing in prosperity this season, you just can't react to how I teach you about being about looking for things. See, God in this season, he's going to give you prosperity that you ain't looking for. What does that mean? You got to think him for the little before he give you the much. And a lot of us, because we have been taught prosperity wrong, that's all we seek God for. So when God gave me this message and said, tell them I see prosperity, I had to let people know that your time of struggling has to be over. So when he gives prosperity in this season, for many of you, he's going to give it in the form of ministry. Exodus chapter 4 says, And Moses answered and said, but behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice. For they will say, the Lord hath not appeared to thee. And the Lord said unto him, what is that in thy hand? And he said, a rod. See, a lot of people going to listen to this message. And because I told it, the stipulation at the beginning of the message is that this prosperity is not for people who have not been following me because they didn't know what you have to do or what you went through. But as you've been following me over the years, if you really study how I follow me over the years, you will see I teach in patterns. So for the past 20 some years, we've been led up to this because you had to go through certain challenges and acts of faith to know that God is with you. So when we look at Exodus chapter 4, a lot of people gonna look at this message. He don't know what he talking about. I'm gonna grab that word. The minute you grab the word, you curse your money. Because you just looking for prosperity. You weren't around when I told the prophetic word. I said, yeah, God gonna release prosperity, but it's gonna be for kingdom-minded people. So many of you have to understand when you begin to see the increase coming to you, it's not for you to go get all the name brand you can get. It's not for you to go to big fancy house and big fancy clothes. It's for you to say, okay, God, what do I have to do for the kingdom? And what happens when you get what you need and understand the kingdom, then you will be a residual rewarder of the kingdom because what he's trying to start is residual kingdom blessing. That means you can't be selfish when God tell you something. So when the Lord said to Moses, what is that in thy hand? You got to look at how much you done wasted before you knew God. And then you got to look at how much you've done for God since you've been in God. What God is going to weigh on how he releases your prosperity is how much that you fought his kingdom, but yet you spend on yourself with no problem. Because when he releases this prosperity, he has to make sure that selfishness that you have must be gone. See, a lot of people don't understand how God tests you before he gives you anything of elevation. I remember this person, and they was praying to God for a microphone and a speaker so they can evangelize. I gave it to him. But when the time came after they had their trials, they didn't take the things of ministry that God gave them to do ministry, which means that showed ministry really went in their heart. When I seen I was getting divorced, the first thing I did, I took my ministry trailer and I took it all the way up to North Carolina. I said, because if God tell me to move, my trailer will be closest to you. See, when people don't take their ministry serious, God can't elevate you because your money comes through your ministry. They left it. And I was talking to someone where they left it. They using the thing that was given for this person evangelizing They using it as a radio. What does that say? That says that you didn't value the ministry that that person had either, because you took what was of value and made it invaluable because you didn't see the value in it. The value in it, it was a prayer answer from God. A prayer answer for God. So when you think about ministry and prosperity, God wants to know, are you willing to use what you got to see what he can do with it? Because guess what he did? And he said, cast it on the ground. And he cast it on the ground and became a serpent. And Moses fled from before it. You can't be afraid of the instructions in God in this season. And many of you are under tests right now. A lot. I already see it, but I don't say nothing. The reason you doubting or not doing what God wants you to do, because you don't know how close you are to receiving the increase. So what we got to understand is that the first thing we see, he said, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh? See, the people that this increase is coming to are people who see themselves of no value. See, that's why a lot of you deal with a lack of confidence, lack of recognition, lack of acknowledgement. But to overcome that, you got to know who you are in God, not what they say you are. So what happens? God knew that Moses was self-confident. He didn't see himself. He didn't see himself as anybody important. That's why many of you flip the script and argue, and you be ready to cuss and fight when people brush you off or think of you as nobody. But when you get that under control and know you who you are in God, ain't nothing nobody can say to you. See, they call me prideful, they call me conceited, but watch this. I just say that because that's how I am. I don't see myself as what people see me as, but I'm confident of who I am in God. So what God wants, see, the reason why a lot of people have to go through that, because God don't want you confident in your flesh. So God told Moses, I'm gonna be with you. And as long as you know God with you, you cannot fear anything. So now God used a precious principle regarding how God uses people. God used you for what you have, not for what you trying to get. God always gonna use what's in your hands first. Because see, for ministry, a lot of you won't have to relocate. But in relocating, you're gonna have to use what you already got to get where God wants you to go. You're gonna have to use what you got to get where God wants you to go, because ministry is going to be so important for many of you going into 2025. So when Moses says that's just a rod, see, because you don't know what value you have in the things you have, you look at what you have is nothing. How did y'all Don't y'all remember how I told you I started my ministry? I started my ministry writing a worthless check because he wanted me. He said, I need you to build a website. I ain't have no money. Back then, we had Bell South, and you can build a website through Bell South. So I went and got that fake check. I typed them numbers in there. I built that website. Yeah, I made good on the check, but I ain't had the money right then. I'm staying in the hood. I'm trying to follow God. So what you got to understand, God used what was in Shagar's hand in Judges 3:3-1. He used what's in David's hand in 1 Samuel 17:49, and he used the jawbone of a donkey in Samson's hand. That Judges 15:15. He used the 5 loaves and 2 fish in the hands of the little boy. So what you got to understand, in order to reach the prosperity God wants you to have, don't forget what you got. Don't forget what you got. And see, a lot of us fail to understand is that many of you haven't been taught correctly. See, the reason you ain't hit the lottery is because of Proverbs 13:11. Wealth gotten by vanity. Some say hastily, some should be diminished, but he that gather by labor shall increase. See, y'all can say, God, let me hit the lottery all you want to. God ain't gonna go against his word. The devil let you hit the lottery. See, when you go buy them lottery tickets, God, I hope I hit. God, I hope I hit. How can God allow you hit when his word says wealth and gotten hastily shall diminish? Why you think most of the lottery winners who hit the lottery, they be dead broke in a number of years? So what God gonna do, he's gonna have to allow you to get wealth in doses. Because every time he give you in dose, he got to see what you're gonna do with it. That makes sense. So now we got to understand that for many of you, your prosperity increase is going to be in ministry. Going to be in ministry now. But you got to understand, you might have to relocate to get what you need. I told you about that couple. Came all the way from Kalamazoo, Michigan. Said the angel came to him twice. I'm going to tell y'all about that. Let's go and get into that. This is why you got to obey God. The man said the angel came twice. And I asked him, well, why you didn't call? I was under the weather. He gave excuses. But you had a wife that can talk. So why your wife couldn't talk? Why you see, you hurt yourself, but you was able to communicate. That showed me something right then about it. But I said, okay, I mentor you. He said, no. He said, God said we got to come down there and learn at your feet. So they was waiting. This was during COVID time too. And they was waiting. They said God said not yet because they were waiting on some that, you remember they started getting the unemployment stuff. And I'm sitting there. I already seen in the spirit, you ain't leaving yet. You saying it's God, but I know you ain't got no money. So what we do? I go find an apartment. I pay the first and last month rent. I sent them the money to come down here. This way it went wrong at because you got to See, I knew what their problem was, but I couldn't get into it till they seen their problem. So the last conversation I had with the man, he said, yeah, God told me I got to stop calling you. No, he said, you got to stop. I got to stop waiting on you to call me. I need to call you sometime. That's my last conversation I had with him. About 5 or 6 months went by. Now watch this now, because see, ministry gonna be important, and you got to learn what happens in ministry sometimes. So when I think I sent him an email or a text, I said, stop trying to figure me out. But I said it in a parable some kind of way. So when I inbox them the next time, they done went and found somebody else. But watch how they left the first person. They had a meeting with them, told them they got to find somebody else. They didn't say nothing to me. They found somebody else. And then when they talked to person, now y'all let me know if I was wrong. If they watch this, they need to hear this. Y'all let me know if I was wrong now. I forgot the whole conversation, but they say they had a dream about me. Some about a gun and watermelon. God was trying to show you I wasn't hurting you, because anybody that know me, I'm a felon. I can't have no gun. Now, do I got one? That ain't your business. Will I get one? That ain't your business. This world crazy. You got to have something, so you ain't gonna know what I got. But I got the Holy Ghost all the time. So get this now. He go tell the man or show him probably what I was teaching. I hadn't even started to teaching them. I was trying to get them to see their weakness. The man gonna tell them, I'm teaching them something old and outdated. Out of 1 point, where it is now. Let me look it up so I can give y'all a reference of what I'm finna say. In 2022, it was 7.951 billion people in the world. I'm gonna show you how they made the wrong move. This man said, I'm teaching you old and outdated. Out of 7.951 billion people in the world, if God sent you to an angel to you twice and told you to come to me, why would God send you to somebody that's teaching you something old? What it was, the person was too embarrassed to know what I was doing. And to prove my point, I hadn't even started teaching them yet. But that's what they believe. That's what happened to them. They could have been good. They was writing a book. They was making the clothing line. Everything I could happen to them. But because he forgot that God told you to call me first, from now on, you took that as a sign that I left you. No, I was waiting on you to obey God. So now they somewhere else. Because, I ain't in Tallahassee no more, so I don't know if they still in there. But watch this. This is why y'all got to understand when you really got somebody who has the heart of God. Even when they said that, when I was married, we used to go down to the beach sometime. Hey, y'all want to go to the beach? Nah, we don't want to go. Hey, y'all want to go hang out? Nah, we don't hate it. Listen here, I'm still your friend. Y'all got to understand, if you don't want to learn from me, that's fine. I'm still your friend. But guess what? That's what church do. That was church do. Now watch this. And when I used to mentor him sometime, the wife would call me, Dietrich, that's an angel behind you. I said, I know. See, if God going to elevate some of you in ministry, you got to learn people are going to make the wrong choice. And you got to let them make that wrong choice. But when you make the wrong choice in a time of testing and judgment, you got to stick with your choice. You got to stick with it. Because when God gives us prosperity. For many of you, let me find the scripture. He's making it personal, which means you better not share, if you choose to share, outside your sphere of influence. Do y'all know what a sphere of influence is? A sphere of influence is the circle that you got that sees the growth in you, allow the growth in you, and no matter what, they there for you. So what you got to realize, you can't listen to no prophet tell you God gonna bless you and you know you in sin. God does not bless sin. That's why they hated me when I was in church. I go up there and the prophets go to prophesying and all this good stuff. And even my carnal mind, I said, God, how you gonna bless me and I'm around here doing this and doing that and doing that? I got to get clean first. If God, listen here, if God had to bless me with the money that went through my hand now, boy, I've been something serious. Because he had to teach me. Psalm 75:6 says, for promotion come neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south. But God is the judge. He put it down one and set it up another. For in the hand of the Lord there is a cup, and the wine is red. It is a full mixture, and he pour out of the same. But the dregs thereof, all the wicked of the earth, shall wring them out and drink them. Y'all hear what he said here? He said the wine red. Put on my red hat. He said the wine red. I was going to get some gas. And I got kind of pissed off because this old lady came in now. And she just set her stuff in front of the teller and then went to get money at the ATM machine. But the man, he ringing it up. I guess he was a user because she said, I want two of them. And I said, why he hold up the line for her? She got to go in the teller and get the money. He came out with that Taylor port. I said, oh, grandma finna get lit. Finna get lit. But what was the revelation? The way some of you think is stopping prosperity from coming in your life. See, I was upset because I was ready to get mine and go, but I had to figure out why this person blocking my blessing. That's why a lot of people had to get away from around my ministry. Because, watch this, I had to let them let me go. I couldn't let them go. Because if I let them go, I would look like the bad man. But I said, I don't mind being the villain in this world. I watch Superman. I watch the Joker. I watch Iron Man. And every time I see the villain living good too. Sometimes the villain wins. Thanos won. He had all the rings. Huh? See, a lot of people ganging up on you because that spirit in them know where you're going. That's why they had to go. Because when you let a person let you go, they know they just can't come back. But if you let them go, you will feel sorry and bring them back. See, I'm glad that heifer down in Birmingham don't talk to me no more. I'm glad. You ain't hurt my feelings. My ministry been established 20-something years. You trying to establish one. You know how many people I got on the waiting list? And I ain't trying to brag. So what you got to understand, stop. See, what I told you a couple of messages ago, I said something to the fact, I said, okay, I said, I've been in ministry 27 years and I've been learning. And I said, if I prophesied anything to you and it hasn't come to pass, I say, say something to me so I can ask God what happened. I said, if God told me I was in the flesh or I was wrong, he said he gonna make it right. Not me. I got one call. One call. It was dealing with something about, I was just speaking like how I normally speak. Y'all know how I talk. And I was saying something about a car being paid off and getting a sum of money. And the lady, people still, they don't fool with me, but they always listen to what I got to say. We're gonna get into that too. So she said, well, Brother Hubbard, I remember you saying such and such and gave the date and the time. Because before I said that, I said, any prophecy that you got, I said, leave them alone. God finna bring you something fresh. Because a lot of you, the reason you gaining weight, the reason you sick is that you got bamboozled and you holding old false prophecies in your spirit, and it causing you to gain weight because you waiting on something that ain't gonna never happen because they was after your money. All right. Long story short, the lady gets, I said it's gonna happen in 3 days. The lady gets a thing in the mail. They overlook some. $42,750. He made it right. Well, how did he make it right? Because you got to understand, when you learn in prophecy, sometimes you be so happy to hear God is that you know what you're saying, but sometimes because you still kind of in the world, you twist what you want to say. But that's okay. God made it right. So you got to understand, it's personal. That's why some of you had to fall out with your parents. That's why some of you had to just leave them alone. That's why some of them you're going to have to cut them off. You got to understand that when you got a good heart, you find it hard to do what you need to do. But if you want to walk in this prosperity, it's every man for himself. I said he says it's going to be personal. That means it's going to be individualized. And the way he's going to release it is how much you value him. How much do you really value him? And for a lot of you, you don't value him enough for him to get you out of the place you in. Because see, some of y'all waiting for prosperity just so you can stun on people. That's all you want it for. So you can throw God in their face. Yeah, God gave me this. Listen here. One thing y'all gonna learn about this prosperity that's coming, if you got to struggle to get it, keep it, or want it, it ain't God. He said we're going in a season of rest. So just like I told you about these glasses, I didn't want nothing like that. But it came to me. And a lot of y'all got to understand how God tried to come to you. Because the third thing you got to understand when he releases his prosperity is that you're going to have one final test. Why you got to have one final test? Because God got to see, are you still selfish? God got to see, are you really obedient? So in this one final test, he's not going to weigh what you do when you do it. He's going to weigh your heart and see if you're really in it. See, when he told Abram to sacrifice Isaac, he wanted to see Abram's heart. He wanted to see, would this man really kill his son for me? So when He finna chop his own son head off. Stop. It's a ram in the bush. Because see, your mouth and your action can say anything. But your heart reveal is God really in it. And see, a lot of y'all get scared and you don't obey him. So the third thing is you got to pass the test. What is it? Luke chapter 14, 28. For which of you intending to build a tower, sit not down first and count the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it, lest happily after he had laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold it begin to mock him. I had this girl a couple of years ago. She liked me, stayed up in Chicago. And this was so funny. Because you can't fool me. I don't care who you are. So one day she called me. She said, yeah, God told me to buy your groceries every time you buy. I laughed. I knew it wasn't God. I knew it wasn't. You just trying to do something for me because you like me, you know. I can't help it. Maybe I got that effect. So she said, every time you buy groceries, send me the receipt. I bought groceries, like $100-something. She sent it to me. About a couple of days later, I think I spent $90, sent it to her, sent it to me. A couple of days later, it was $130. I sent it. Dog, you buy a lot of groceries. I can't afford this. I thought you said God told. I just went to laugh. I said, why you said God told? Because see, God know me. That's how I was shopping. Ain't never for me to get up and go to the store and get a few things. See, if you really want this prosperity, when God tell you to do something, you can't sit down and think of what about me. You got to think, okay, is this God tested me and I don't want to do it because it's about me? That proves you selfish. See, you're going to have to count the cost before God released this money of obeying God. See, he want to see, do you really obey him when you know he finna get you something or give you something or expose you to something, or you just love him because he's him? See, you don't want to say God gave you a new car and 2 months later the devil showed busy. Well, God didn't give you the car. He didn't give you the car. I was at this church one time, I never forget. This girl wanted a car. And the pastor brought it up. He said, yeah, God blessed her with a car, but all she needs is a down payment. When does God have do anything? And this what I can't get. The darn congregation went crazy and went to giving to her. And I'm just sitting back, because I ain't give a dime. That ain't God. See, if God blessed you with something, he blessed you with it. See, that was sorrow because you had it, but you had to get the down payment. Y'all remember when I told y'all about that woman stayed in what it was, Cairo, Georgia? But can you pray for me, prophet? My car messed up. I always go to the buy here, pay him place. And every time I get a car, something go wrong with the engine. I said, don't you go to a prophetic church? She said, yeah, my brother there. Well, why you calling me? That's what I was saying to myself. I ain't say that to her. I said, oh, okay. I said, it's a car lot round the corner. I said, go around there, tell them you need a car and you ain't got no money. But my credit bad, I ain't got no down payment. Go around there, tell them you need a car, you ain't got no money. But see, My credit bad because I ain't paid such and such and such and such and such and such. I said, go around there, tell them the prophet said, you need a car and you got no money. Okay, then she walked around there, came back, called me about an hour later crying. I got a car and I ain't have to put no money down on it. And my credit score was 760 something. Fear blocks a lot of y'all out of your blessing. She never did get why I asked her, don't you go to a prophetic church? Because why your brother couldn't say that? Be mindful of going to churches to people that you got a familiar connection with. They'll never hear God for you. Never. I don't care if they're your day one, you grew up together, that's your bestie, they prophesied to you. They'll never hear God for you. That's what I didn't teach you. You believe everything he said, but you had to call me. And this what got me. She called again. My credit score, you think I need a house? I said, you ain't ready for no house. Why you think I ain't? I said, you just got a car. She was on disability. You staying in the projects. You ain't ready for no house. Go get the house. Now you got a new car note and a new house note. Now she got to work 2 and 3 jobs. The last I talked to her to keep the house. You see how she obeyed? Well, she was hesitant, but you obeyed me when it's something I said that God said you could have. You disobeyed me for something you want, and I was telling you God didn't want you to have it. Now, you got to go get a job when you wouldn't work it just to pay for it. But get kick a high metal. That's when them people who just scam on Instagram all the time, and she needed some money. And when they told me what happened, because they told me to pray that the people send their money back. You know how they say, I seen you send me 100, I send you back 2,000. She did it. I just laughed my head off. I said, yeah, this is special. Who believes stuff like that? I'm glad they took that off Instagram because they got a lot of y'all. Poverty. So you got to look at where your blessing stopped at. And for many of you, that's why I told you, people just can't listen to this and think this prosperity word for them. It's for y'all who've been consistent listening to me. This for y'all. I don't care how many views this get. It ain't for them. It's for y'all. Why would I say that? Because you've been listening to instructions that God has given you through me and you've done them. Because you know, when you talk about prophecy and prosperity, that lets you know they come running in because they money hungry. Like, you got to have a relationship with God to know, like that Don that want to be prophet down in Birmingham. I can't believe you call yourself a prophet and you gonna tell me you won't let me prophesy to you. That ain't a prophet. Prophecy come from God. I can't hold up a word if God wants you to give me a word. You understand that was fear is what it was. Because ain't nobody just gonna say anything to me. Don't tell me to go look for a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house and this and this and this. That ain't kingdom, sweetie. I asked God, when I asked for kingdom stuff. I don't want no 4-bedroom house. I said, God, I want stuff. I want old hotels and old school so I can get all the people, you know what I'm saying, and they're listening. And we can all be in one location. See, when you think kingdom is more than just you and your immediate family. Kingdom is the people who do the work of God. I ought to text that heifer and tell her, you know your prophet said they come to pass. That's why I ought to text her. That's what I ought to text her. I think I might just do that. Because y'all know I like messing with people. So now, why does God got to give you one final test before he gives you prosperity? Because he also has to test your mindset. You got to know that God desires to bless us. But a lot of our blessing is not going to come in the form of money. You might got an incurable disease that God gonna cure. You might want a child that you desperately want to have. Hebrews 11:1. It's your mindset. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, for by it the elders obtain a good report. Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. The first thing he got to look at your mindset, are you asking for something that somebody else got? See, if you want God to give you something because you done seen somebody else have it, that's not faith. See, when we look at verse 3, he said, you do understand the world was framed by the word of God, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. That's a coveting spirit. When you see somebody with a house and you want one. When you see them with a car, when you want. When you see they man or woman treating them good, you want a man or woman treated. Because see, we got to understand. Let there be light. Light wasn't light till God gave it. Then light had to figure out who they was because they had 0.00 nanoseconds to appear. Timing is everything in God. And the problem where most of y'all fail with God is timing. But when you come around me, the first thing I told you, if you hear it, do it. If you got to argue about it, argue. But you don't want to miss your timing. Because if you got a man or a woman of God and they understand timing, see, sometimes you ain't got time to pray about it. Sometimes you ain't got time to fast about it because God's still making the world with his mouth. And he's using us to do it. You that have that kind of anointing. But watch this here. We're going to skip on down to verse 6. But without faith, it is impossible to please him, for he that comes to God must believe that he is, and that he's a water that diligently seeks. See, diligently mean consistency. See, the ones God's going to bless with prosperity, you consistent. See, you didn't worry about your check was short. You did what he told you to do anyway. You didn't worry about could you pay your car note or mortgage. You did what you want to do anyway, because consistency doesn't care when we up or down. All consistency cares about is obedience. You do understand that when you know what diligence means, it means consistent obedience. See, you can't say you love God, but you meet a man or a woman and you stop praising God. You can't say you love God and when your divorce happened, you stop seeking God. You stop doubting God. You can't love God and your son died and you get mad at everybody. You internally hate who God is. See, that's not diligent consistently. That's what I've been trying to show you. Even going through my own divorce. I told y'all, I said, God, I don't feel like doing it. Boy, keep going. That's what he called me. Boy, you all right. Boy, you been here before. Because he understood something. Those that know what's going on, Brother Hubbard never stopped. So you can't get prosperity and then you stop seeking God at the same measure or level that you were seeking it before you got it. And that's what happened to a lot of Christians. You must believe that he is. See, sometimes believing that God is mean he ain't gonna always do it. I was talking to somebody today. When I went down to that hospital last night and I seen that room full of people in that emergency room, I said, God, if I got favor in this situation, I said, let them call me back there in 10 minutes. It was 8 minutes and 27 seconds. They called my name. Then I said, well, God, and I had to stop myself. He gave me what I asked for. Why would I ask for the same favor in the same situation? Because I won't ask him. I said, let me get out of here in an hour. I got in there by 8. I left by 1:20. I came to the home. And when they let me go, I said, this is the worst hospital I ever been in. That's what I said. That's why I told y'all start living your life prophetically. Out of all the times I've been to a hospital, I never said that. You know why I said that? Because God said, that was part of my revelation this morning. I don't know if I said it or not. The ones that's supposed to be protecting you are the ones that's been treating you. And you still saying, my pastor, my prophet, my apostle. And they're giving you the worst relationship that you can ever have with God in their life. But because of religion and the man-made doctrine and them traditions, y'all don't want to shake it. Y'all don't want to shake it. Because see, y'all like that, what's his name? Y'all like that PMJ and that Jacana car. God gonna do it big. God gonna do it big. Sometimes the small thing is big to God. See, y'all want it big so y'all can show off. See, you want a big house, but maybe God want to get rid of that uncurable illness you got. See, you can talk about it, but people can't see it. God ain't got to do nothing big to be God. And see, that's where they got y'all at. They getting y'all the big God syndrome. Do you know how big it is for you to go to sleep and wake up in the morning? That's big. But you done took that for granted. So you want a big old house. But can't nobody come in there. Take my shoes, take your shoes off on my carpet. That ain't your carpet. If that the case, do like grandma do. Y'all put them, y'all remember them rubber runners? And boy, you had to take your shoes off and you step on that stuff and them things be sticking you. Then they had the plastic over the furniture. You get on it, you squishing and sweat. Grandma didn't play about that down living room. So your mindset got to change of what big is to you. See, if you want something big, it got to be representative of what you're going to do with it in the kingdom. Verse 8. By faith, Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed, and he went out, not knowing whether he went. All right, we're gonna put a pin now. I heard that one good. See, it's about 4 of y'all. God, 2 of y'all, God done told to move. 2 of y'all want to move. 2 of y'all he told to move, y'all procrastinating. 2 of y'all want to move, you don't know how to do it. You want to know how to do it? If you got a house, you either sell it, take that money and move, or watch this. You rent it out and move. You use that as a payment for the rent to where you're going. Simple. The 2 that's procrastinating, If you don't make plan by July the 1st, don't even worry about it. Because we let people talk us out of things because of fear. I remember the first time God told me to move to Atlanta from Birmingham. I was paying like $250 in rent. I think no, it wasn't 150. 150. 2 bedroom, 1 bath. I was down in the hood. And people knew that I was moving. Ooh, it's expensive in Atlanta. I was living in my car then. And God said, if you got to worry about what it costs, don't move. Don't let people talk you out of what God done told you. So I'm sitting there. Phone rung next day. Had a friend stay down there over by Stonecrest Mall. Kennison Place Apartments. I still remember the name of upstairs on the 3rd floor. She said, I'm moving to New York. I'm going to work up there as a nurse for a little while. Do you want my place? I said, yeah. She said, okay, just pay the rent and the utilities. Didn't cost me nothing. See, God will make a way. But y'all ain't got no faith. See, verse 9 said, Abram, by faith he sojourned in the land of promise as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. For he looked for a city which has foundations, whose builder and maker is God. See, y'all looking for something big, and to God is something small. Here he is. Watch. See, this is why God had to get rid of some people around you. So we had Abram, Isaac, and Jacob. They all had the same promise. 3 people walking in a land that God gave them, and they didn't know they was in their blessing because they looking for the identification of what they consider a God blessing is. That's why a lot of y'all miss blessings. It ain't big enough. People can't see it. You can't stunt. She ain't fine enough. He don't make enough money. That ain't a good job. How many of y'all have missed a blessing because you couldn't put God's name on it? That's what it's saying. He said, I'm looking for a city. He looking for a big and spectacular, but you don't understand. God's biggest blessing always starts out small. Because why would God give you something big and you don't respect the little? Why do you think he says despise not small beginnings? You know how many friends I look at? They got 4 companies talking about they CEOs but catching the bus. They got businesses that ain't making no money. But they on social media like they doing it big. And I'm all over the internet. And they begging people to buy books here and how you do this there and where you get that from there. See, God is not going to put a stamp of approval on a lie. So for a lot of you to really access the blessing of God, you just tell people you broke. If you ain't got it, you ain't got it. Brother Hubbard ain't got it. I ain't got it. God got it. And see, a lot of you right here playing big shot and little just choking. You almost out of breath. You know you can't afford that woman and she taking your all. You know you don't like that man, but watch this. You don't think nobody else wants you. So we're going to stop it off now because I got to take my time. Hawaii 5-0 on. I ain't in no rush. I ain't got no dog in the fight. See, this for y'all. This for y'all. He said, Deidre, I want to treat you. See, this is how you got to have a relation with God. Dietrich, I want you to teach about prosperity, but if none's not coming to you, it's going to them. I know why he said that. I understand why he said that. Because I know who God is. I ain't got to have it. Because if I was to die right now, I guarantee you, I don't live a fulfilled, rich life. I guarantee you, I probably 54 years old, I probably touched $2.5 million, and that ain't a lie. When I was hauling junk, we were making $800,000 a day just hauling junk. Now we ain't getting to the drugs and the stealing and the manipulating and the this and that, man. But see, I messed it over because I wasn't ready for it. Now I watch my money. See, I ain't finna be around no woman that got to lie about what she got and take what you got and how would they, man. These women out here on something, y'all better, yeah. You know how if you're single and you really want a godly husband or a godly wife, make sure they're able to see in you what God see in you. If they can't see what's in you through God seeing you, that ain't the one for you. That's some prosperity for you too.